What is up, everybody? Kano's back. Kano's back. Kano's back. Kano's back. I'm so excited for this video. Kano is now back in Blitz. Our Storm Striders got unbanned, so we can play Kano again. So this is my day one Kano list. I've been changing the cards around a lot. I've been playing Talishar matches all morning for the last 4 hours or so. I'll say like 4 hours of Kano Blitz under my belt. And I've been changing cards, adding cards, testing new cards, testing old cards again now that Wildfire is banned. And this is the list that I settled on. The list will be in the description below. If you guys like this kind of video, please subscribe and follow me on Twitter. It helps out a lot. Like, leave a comment. I try to respond to everyone. Now let us go over this amazing list. So first and foremost, we're playing 18 blues. If you want to look at the stats really fast. 18 blues, I like that blue count high because we need blues to work for our deck. So we're playing 18 blues, and the yellows are like yellows that we actually want to cast, so I don't count those as resources. The yellows and the reds we always want to play, we never want to pitch, so we have 18 resource cards, which is fine. That's fine. That's like I won't go any lower. Like 17, I in the battle hardened that I got second in, I played 17 blues, and that was like pushing the limits of the deck. But with Aether Wildfire, you were allowed to push the limits more because you're more of a fast aggro combo deck. This is more of a mid-rangey OG style Kano deck where you want to block with 2 cards, pitch a card, play a card. You kind of want to grind them out until they get low enough where you can just kill them, or you strip their hand one turn and you kill them. So let's go over the deck and why we play every card. So first and foremost is for Aether Flares. This card is really good off the top. It's really good to pitch these early, pitch stack these, get them back late game, and have insane combo turns. So we have 2 reds, 2 blues. This has always been a Kano staple. I've almost always played for this card. It's just a really efficient, really strong card. Next up is 2 blue Aether Quicklings. So this card is a 1 cost, deal 2. If this deals more than 2 damage, it gains go again. We're really realistically looking at this as a 1 cost, 2 damage that blocks for 3 and is a blue pitch. All of our blue pitch cards block for 3, or they have a really strong effect. That is the rules. We want every card in our deck to block for 3 or be super powerful. Aether Quickling blocks for 3, it's a blue, and it's very efficient off the top when you're going for those kill turns because 1 for 2 is just good resources. And against an aggro deck, you can just slam this down, say 1 for 3, make them pitch a card, or it's going to have go again. Next up is 3 Aether Spindles. Aether Spindle Red is a card that I would never leave out of my Kano deck. This card is really good. On your turn, it's a 3 for 5, activating staff, of course. It lets you opt X. Aggro decks don't want to block this. Most control decks can't block it all, and if they do, you're stripping 2 to 3 cards out of their hand. So very efficient. We play one of the blue versions just because it's a blue with a relevant on hit, and sometimes we want to actually cast our blues, but most of the time they're just a 3 block that's also a blue. Next up is 2 Blazing Aethers. Never leave home without Blazing Aether. I'm so glad this card keeps dodging bans because this card is so much fun to play with. Blazing Aether, the kill card, obviously. Next up is 1 Blazing of Aether. This is a card I honestly did not plan on playing. When I first saw this, I was like, oh, this card isn't good. You just Wildfire them to death. But now without Wildfire, we're going for the more slow, mid-rangey plan. And this card is really good against those Oldims, really good against those Bravos, really good against those decks that really want to AB you out. Even against Icelander, you can just throw this down there, and it's +3 for your next turn. It's basically a mini Aether Flare, and if you play this into Aether Flare hits for 6. With Staff, it hits for 7. And then if you know what the top card is, you can activate Kano, and then your next effect will get +X, which is realistically probably +4. So Blessing of Aether is really good with Aether Flare, and it's just a card that you want one of. And it's one of those cards that if you go first, it's another one of those go first cards. Blessing of Aether, Energy Potion, Potion of Deja Vu are all those cards you want to see when you're on the play. Because you can just slap this down, pass turn, and then your second turn is going to be huge. So this is a one of. If you don't want to play Blessing of Aether, the other card I was testing in its spot was Nourishing Emptiness. One Nourishing Emptiness is always good. It's just one of those things as, do you want more hits off the top of your deck? Realistically, Blessing of Aether is also a dud because it does no damage on your kill turn, but it's fine to hit early to mid-game. So it's kind of just, would you rather have an attack action card that blocks for 3, that bricks you off the top, or a non-attack action card that doesn't deal damage but sets you up for the following turn? Next up is One Chain Lightning. This is a card I was thinking about playing 2 of, thinking about playing 1 of. Since we're playing the more slow mid-rangey game plan, I think One Chain Lightning is exactly where you want to be. If you can set up your pitch stack and you can hit it off the top, it's going to do huge things. Chain Lightning is one of those cards that leads to the most busted Kano turns because it lets you activate your arsenal card without Storm Striders. It lets you kind of like break the rules of FAB as we know it by playing multiple cards from your hand in their turn. Chain Lightning's a great one of, and also blocks for 3. Woo! Next up is 3 Scoldings. Playing 1 red. The 1 red is really in here for those Oldhams and those Bravos, but it's also a card that is really good with Storm Striders. This is a card that can kill people out of nowhere with Storm Striders. You throw this in Arsenal, you wait till that final turn, you activate Staff, you activate Storm Striders, you play Scolding, you crack your nodes. This hits him for 8 out of nowhere. Big damage spells are how we close games out without Wildfire, and this is one of the best ways to do that. It is only 1 of because it's only a 2 for 4 on your turn, which is a 3 for 5, which is kind of below par for what we're trying to do. But off the top or on those Storm Striders turns, this is an insane damage output that most decks either 1 don't expect or 2 cannot stop. We're playing 2 of this for the same exact reason. It's a 3 block, which is great. It's a 2 for 2, which is the same kind of average of Aether Spindle. But if you can play this on their turn off the top or with a Potion of Deja Vu, this is really good because it's a 2 for 4. With Staff, it's a 3 for 5. So Scolding Blue gets my thumbs up. Next up is Energy Potion, the best resource card in FAB. It pitches for 3, but if you can set these up, you can have huge combo finishers. Energy Potion's always going to be a staple in Kano. This card is just straight busted. It doesn't block, but the effect on the card is good enough that it's okay. We have 4 non-blocks in the deck, and that hurts sometimes. There are games where you will draw 4 no-blocks in your opening hand and just lose the game on turn 0, but that's okay. That's just the risk we take. Next up is 1 Eye of Ophidia. The only Fable that I actually enjoy playing. I think all the other Fables are kind of mid to bad, but Eye of Ophidia, just every time you draw that card, it makes your day. You just smile and you're like, wow, this card is amazing. So Eye of Ophidia, amazing card. Always play this. Next up is 2 Gaze the Ages. This is like mini Eye of Ophidia because the Opt-2 effect is really good and it goes back to your hand almost always because the only time you're playing this is if you've played another wizard card this turn. So Gaze is like a mini baby eye. So 2 Gazes always going to be in the deck. Next up is Lesson in Lava. This is your main kill condition against a lot of these aggro decks. You go Lesson in Lava into Scolding, Blazing Aether, Reverberate to play a card from your hand, Tome of Aetherwind to draw more cards. Lesson is a really strong card that you should never leave your house without. It also blocks for 3 and it only costs 1, so good card is good. Next up is Potion of Deja Vu. This is one of those cards that I love. I think this is the most skill testing card in Kano because as soon as you resolve this card, every hand turns into a kill hand and every hand just gets that much more busted. Drawing Tome of Aetherwinds or Tome of Findel suddenly isn't a bad thing because you can pitch it and put it back on top. Drawing cards like Scolding is insane because you can just put that back on top on their turn and guarantee that extra damage. Cards like Aether Flare as well, you can just guarantee that's on top to get the extra damage on their turn. Potion of Deja Vu is really good. If you don't want to play the Potion of Deja Vu, any other blue that blocks is fine. So just take any blocking blue if you don't think you can handle all those lines yet. Next up is Prognosticate. This is the only 0 cost that deals 1 that we still play in the deck. Without Wildfire, the 0 for 1s got a lot worse. We really don't want to hit these off the top. But this is a 0 for 1 that blocks for 3 and has a relevant on hit. If it deals more than 1 damage, you get to opt 1. which realistically, they should always block it, but sometimes they won't block it and they'll just take 2, and that opt 1 could be huge in the late games. On those kill turns, opting 1 could mean the difference between killing them and not killing them. So this is the only 0 for 1 that we are playing in the current list, but it's a blue that blocks for 3, so it hits all the check marks. Next up is Reverberate. Reverberate's really good because it has pseudo go again. It's the only card in FAB that is a wizard attack action, not attack action, that basically has go again. Because this is a 2 for 4, because you're always activating staff. And if even 1 damage leaks through, it basically has go again. You can play your tomes, you can play another Reverberate, you can play anything you want. This card is great in red. We also play the blue version, because same thing. It lets you cheat out kill turns. If you hit this off the top, you can just play cards from your hand. It's kind of like Chain Lightning. It's just a really strong card, so that's why we're playing Reverberate. Sonic Boom. I feel like I keep saying this for every card, but Sonic Boom is busted. This card matched up with Potion of Deja Vu is very strong. This card matched up with Talismanic Lens to know exactly what it's going to hit is very strong. This card, when you pitch stack, is very strong because you pitch this and you pitch a Scolding or a Voltic Bolt or something similar underneath that. This is going to deal 3 or more or less, and then it's going to hit that Voltic Bolt, which is going to hit him for 5. So Sonic Boom is a must-block card if you're playing against Kano, and if you're playing Kano, this is one of those cards that can win you the game on the spot. Next up is Swell Tidings. The surge up for this card doesn't really matter. We're almost never going to get the surge unless they're just taking 6, and if they're taking 6, we're probably winning the game anyways. This is just a new and better Voltic Bolt. It's a 2 for 5, just like Voltic Bolt. It blocks for 3, but it has a relevant on hit that if we empty our hand like early, we can still have an arsenal target. And almost every card in our deck is okay to be arsenaled. Even our blues are fine because we play 1 Chain Lightning. So Swell Tidings, very good addition to the deck. Lets us have more Voltic Bolts in the deck, and Voltic Bolts are how you beat Oldhim. So next up is our Tome package, Tome of Findel and Tome of Aetherwind. These cards say draw a card off the top of your deck. These allow you to pitch stack. These allow you to Potion of Deja Vu. These cards are really good. One thing about Aetherwind I always want to keep saying is this text box. You can buff up arcane damage. Remember, you don't always have to draw a card. I've won so many games by just going Tome of Aetherwind. My next one gets +2 arcane into some other card that is now huge. Because breakpoints are huge for Kano, and you don't always want to draw. Sometimes you just need to buff your Voltic Bolt up high enough where they can't block it out. So just remember that this card has two text boxes, not just draw a card. It can also buff stuff up. Tome of Findel, same thing. It draws cards. One of the big things I like to do in Kano is you arsenal this early. As soon as Tunic hits 3, you play from arsenal, draw 2, gain 6, and then just blind Kano off the top, hopefully hitting energy potions, Potion of Deja Vu. Now hoping to hit Blessing of Aether as well. I don't like blind Kanoing much, but gaining 6 is really strong in Kano since you start at 15. So if you ever have the opportunity to just move your counter from Tunic, draw 2 cards and gain 6, always do that. It's a huge tempo swing. Next up is 2 Voltic Bolts, 1 blue, 1 red. The red one's very strong because it's a 2 for 5 or a 3 for 6. And the blue one, same thing. It's a 2 for 3. So it's basically Scolding's average. It never has the ceiling as Scolding, but the floor is also better. So we play 1 of each just because it's still a really good card. And it blocks for 3. Blocking for 3 is good. Now let's look at the equipment. So in the old Kano deck list, we always played Ragmuffin's Hat. Ragmuffin's Hat was the go-to piece because we were a combo piece. We're no longer a combo deck anymore. We are this mid-rangey grind for value, grind for cards deck. I like to call it the on 2 turns, off 1 turn. Basically what that means is on our turn, we're going to try to rip 2 cards from their hand, and then when they go to do anything, they'll have 1 card left, maybe no cards left in their hand, then we try to punish them on their turn. And then we draw back up, pass, they have an on turn, we block with 2 cards, throw a card, hopefully they, it's on and off cycles. So you have 2 on turns, 1 off turn, 2 on turns, 1 off turn. and you're really just trying to punish those breakpoints on those on turns to leak damage and leak more damage than they can throw back at you. So in every match, almost every match, our equipment is 1 Crucible of Aetherweave. Listen, this weapon is just insane. 1 Spring Tunic, because Tunic good. 1 Node. 1 Storm Shadows, which is legal in Blitz now. Ignore this. They just haven't updated their website. And we're going back to my favorite headpiece, Talismanic Lens. Instant, destroy Talismanic Lens, opt 2. This is for that final kill turn or a Sonic Boom turn, or really whenever you need to guarantee a hit off the top of your deck. You blow this up, you opt 2. It can dig for your Blazing Aethers. It can dig for really whatever you're looking for. It can dig for your Scoldings. This is just, in my opinion, safer than Ragamuffin's Hat because we're no longer going for that insane kill turn. Instead, we just want consistency in our deck, and Talismanic Lens screams consistency. Now, what do we have for the sideboard? We have the Waning Moon and Constellus game plan against Kano and Icelander only. So this is like our anti-Icelander Kano package, or against everything else. We're just playing this. We have 1 Cracker Jacks because Cracker Jacks is hilarious. And when I won the Battle Hardened, I had 1 Cracker Jacks in the sideboard. And now that's just kind of the meme I'm going to keep going with. Cracker Jacks is good. Realistically, this should be the new crown that blocks for 2 and lets you get rid of an Arsenal card. But Cracker Jacks is just too funny. Next up is Gambler's Gloves. This is only for KO. Again, I respect KO, so I always play 1 of Gambler's Gloves just in case someone wants to roll those dice. 1 Nalaruin Hood. This is for the Mirror. And this is also for Icelander. We just want to get as much Arcane Barrier as possible to make the game go slow. And then, of course, Ragamuffin's Hat. I'm not sure if we even play this in the sideboard, mainly because we're not on that combo plan anymore. We're on this slow, mid-rangey deck. But it's there if you still want to do that degenerate game plan. So this is my day 1 Kano deck. This is what I'm taking to my armory tonight. The special release weekend armory. I'm gonna bring this exact list. If you don't have the new cards yet, like Aether Quickling, you can just play Zap or Sap or yeah. You can just take any 0-for-1 for this card. It does not matter. A 0-for-1 still fills this role. This one, the 1-for-2 in the original Arcane Rising set fills this role as well. All you really need is a 1-for-2. Doesn't matter if it has that text box, because 9 times out of 10, that text box is blank anyways. If you don't have Blessing of Aether, I suggest Nourishing Emptiness as the cheap fix for that one. And if you don't have Swell Tidings, you can do another Voltic Bolt and another Scolding, I guess, would be my fix for that. Another Scolding is a little bit worse, but another Scolding, another Voltic Bolt, and you're basically hitting the same breakpoints, hitting the same deck as we currently have. So you don't need the new Dynasty cards for this deck yet, but this is the upgrades, and this is where I think Kano is evolving. If I make any changes to the deck that are huge, I will be updating the deck list in the description below. So that will always be my most up-to-date Kano list. And yeah, hopefully I can go win an armory tonight with Kano. Kano is back. No more Prism. Again, if you like the video, please subscribe. It means a lot. Check me out on Twitter. I tweet way too much. It's the same as my YouTube channel. But have a good one, guys. Thank you so much for watching.